This episode is sponsored by Echo. Hear clearly, care confidently.
Learn more at echohealth.com. That's EKO health.com. And use code JSP for $50 off any stethoscope.
Just Some Podcast Media.
The thoughts and opinions on Just Some Podcast are of the hosts and guests and do not represent the views of organizations that employ them or they volunteer for. They are also not responsible for spontaneous black holes or nuclear wars that may occur. You have been warned.
Welcome, everybody, to another fun-filled and exciting episode of Just Some Podcast. This is Tom.
Hey, this is Ben. And Tom, normally this is where I ask how you're doing, but I'm going to circumvent that because we got a guest on, and this dude's been dodging my calls for a while. We finally got him talked into coming on the show. So, I'm excited to have him here. Eric, Easy E, man, how's it going?
Hey out there, how's it going? It's going all right. Can't complain too much.
All right, now, Tom, how are you?
Snow. There you go. That's like literally, that's it. That's all we need to know. Yeah. Snow, plenty of it. How is it in Kansas? I know how it is in other places. How is it in Kansas?
Chilly, but not too bad. We're at a warm front, so you'll be getting that in a few days.
It is always nice to talk to Ben because usually about 3 days later, whatever he's getting, I get something close to it. So he's like my advanced weatherman. So good. We need to get some of this off the sidewalks here.
So you get some sloppy seconds, is that what you're
saying? Eric, I don't think I've ever put it that way, but yeah.
From now on, we will.
Yeah, exactly. Now I can't not think about it like that. So yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to be getting. Oh boy.
That's hard.
Yeah. It happens. So. Tom, you still up to your ass in flu and COVID?
Yeah, honestly, it's super busy. Lots of both, actually, and lots of common cold. So even when we're testing for both, sometimes they're still like, well, I'm sick, but all my tests are negative. I'm like, well, there are other viruses out there. So unfortunately, the past 2 years, people's minds have forgotten that there are other coronaviruses and other things that can make them sick. It's been very busy, but honestly, I want to say somewhat manageable. I'm going to knock on wood and hopefully that doesn't come back to bite us. But in the office setting, I should say. Now, I do know that some of the local ERs and urgent cares are still just getting mangled. But in the office setting, it seems to have plateaued, I guess, is the best word for it.
And this is probably the point of the conversation that Eric is happy that he's no longer in the ER.
Damn right.
Yeah. Oh, again, like I said, so happy for you and so jealous. Is what.
Technically, I'm still in the ER. I work one shift a month, but I just don't schedule my one shift for the last 4 months. So.
Well, yeah. So it's PRN in name. There you go.
Exactly. Yeah. I just act like I didn't get the message. Oh, I forgot about that. My bad.
Yeah. I forgot about that. I couldn't hear it over the roar of my stereo. So that's where. So how long were you in ER?
6 years.
6 years. And were you ER bedside prior?
Yes. So altogether, I think I'm 15 years in now.
Woo.
That's with NICU, peds, flight, moving, onset nursing, and then ER.
God, so you got a really diverse background.
I do.
So did I hear flight?
Flight, NICU, and high risk OB.
You are not a small gentleman.
Yeah.
So I'm picturing in my head the shoehorn effect. It must have been to get him into a bird sometimes.
The flight suit had to have been custom made.
Could you imagine a very large individual coming in and be like, I'm going to be your NICU nurse tonight?
And get this, back when that happened, I was a professional fighter too, so I'd always have black eyes and such too.
Oh, that's a good story. Like, what happened? One of the parents wanted to argue with me about what we were going to do. Like, suddenly there's no more arguments. It's amazing.
Some belly time gone bad.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. Well, Eric, do you have a good day today in your practice? Which one? We're going to get more into that here in a little bit anyway.
Yeah, we did pretty good. Revenue was pretty good today. We pulled in probably about 6,000 to 7,000.
Oh,
not bad.
So today's episode really should be renamed "How Ben and Tom Decided to Get into Aesthetics." Is what the real name of this episode should be.
Well, through our social media stuff, we'll give Eric a chance to promote his stuff too. So you can find us. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. All at Just Some Podcast. Our website's www.justsomepodcast.com. Email us. Make us feel jealous about you too. JSP@justsomepodcast.com. Tom, if they want to help us out, what else could they do?
Well, what they could do is they could go to the JSP website. They could scroll down to just about the bottom. There's an Amazon affiliate link. Click on that before they do any shopping or add anything to their cart. And then when they go shopping, it helps us out and it doesn't cost them a thing. And we would really appreciate it. Mr. Eric, I am sure there are some websites advertising social media or anything that you would want to talk about. Do you want to talk about any of that real quick?
Oh, we're huge. We're huge on Instagram and Facebook, at Bosque Aesthetics. We're also, that's spelled BOSQUE. Everybody doesn't know how to spell that. We're not in New Mexico, apparently. And then bosqueaesthetics.com is our website. You can check out all of our different features and the machines that we use. We use high technology here, cranking it out.
And we'll make sure that we get links down to everything in the show notes so that people can come find you and check out all the cool shit you're doing. So
definitely. Tom,
you ready to get into the story that your man missed?
Sure. Yeah.
All right. Tom, being in family practice like you are and like I am, I'm sure that you dealt with the Phillips recall of all of the sleep apnea machines, CPAPs, VPAPs, good stuff.
To a minor degree, yes.
Okay.
I say it really hasn't hit me that hard, but I am aware of it. Yeah.
So basically, in June of 2021, Phillips Respironics announced a voluntary recall of more than 15 million devices. They were included CPAPs, BPAPs, ventilator machines, anything along those lines, because the noise abatement foam inside the machine could degrade, and if inhaled, could cause serious injury or worse, cancer in some cases. Well, of course, this voluntary recall did trigger FDA inspections of Phillips Respironics manufacturing facility this past August and November, and the FDA found some interesting stuff, Tom. According to the FDA's inspection, there were warnings from inside the company that included at least 14 tests or assessments from as early as 2016, where Phillips staff were aware of issues and concerns related to the potential foam degradation. There were internal emails the FDA inspectors cite, including one from 2015 from an employee of Phillips to the company's raw foam supplier that implies that a customer made them aware of the polyester urethane foam degradation issues and didn't really do much about it. They did have several complaints, some of those dating back to 2014. And when asked for comment, Phillips Respironics referred NBC5, which is where I'm pulling this information from, to a prepared list of FAQs that responded to some, but not all of the FDA's findings, as well as a statement from their CEO, which says, quote, "We will work closely with the FDA to clarify and follow up on inspectional findings. And until we have concluded these discussions, we are not able to publicly provide further details," unquote. Tom, your thoughts?
I guess I'm not totally shocked. It's one of those things where a big company knows that there may be a problem and they're trying to figure out if it's more lucrative to allow the problem to fix itself per se, or to initiate recalls. And in this case, obviously, it became more costly to do the recall. That's why they're doing it. I think anytime, though, a company is told multiple years in a row that there's a problem and then the problem becomes big, it's obviously it's going to be very hard for them to fight said problem. For instance, if anybody's aware of the elderly woman that spilled hot coffee from McDonald's on herself multiple years ago, I can't even remember when it was. And, at first, and I included, would say stuff like, well, it's hot coffee. Like, you burnt yourself with coffee. What exactly were you expecting? And again, I was totally in that camp. And then I watched a documentary on it where there was multiple complaints to McDonald's, like, hey, normal coffee is at whatever temperature. You are multiple degrees above that. You're causing injuries to people for even like minor spills. And McDonald's went along and just said, fuck you. We're not going to do anything about it. And so that's how it kind of became a bigger issue. And so I think some of these companies are banking on people not making a big deal about it and making money off of it. That's what it sounds like.
Eric, you got any thoughts on that?
Well, just to go off your story with coffee and McDonald's, she's actually from Albuquerque, New Mexico, from here.
Oh, really?
So,
Okay. I didn't remember. I just remember it was a long time ago. And I watched, there's a documentary called Hot Coffee.
Yeah.
Where they talked about it. And I thought it was a really interesting case because of all those facts, because initially I was like everybody else. I was like, well, you spilled coffee on yourself. But then when you find out some more, yeah, it just was like, wow.
The interesting thing about it is that she actually just wanted them to pay some more medical bills at first.
Yes.
And then they balked at it.
Yeah. I was trying to keep it short, but yeah, no, you're 100% correct. Is the family came and said, okay, well, we know there's been a problem and she's got these 3rd-degree burns on her inner thighs. If you just cover medical costs, this all goes away. And again, McDonald's said, you can't make us. And they said, okay. And then it became what it became. And yeah, it is again, I am all about a company being allowed to do what it wants to do within certain confines. But when someone is saying, hey, this is dangerous, that's when perhaps the script has changed a little.
And that's where we're at now with the CPAP, BiPAP issues.
Yeah.
You said it exactly. It's what's costing them more money. What's costing, the impingement of the cash flow coming in, to say we're wrong or to say wrong in court. Yeah. And in court, you have to prove it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Well, Tom, I'd like to thank you for marking McDonald's off a potential sponsor list.
Gotta love it.
Yeah. I tell you right now, McDonald's comes to us and says, we're going to pump a couple $1 million into your show. I'll make this disappear. This never happened. I don't know what you're talking about. Me and Eric talked about how we loved McMuffins. Like, it was a great episode. So
they will come to us and say, hey, we were going to sponsor your show, but then can you go ahead and play that soundbite? Yeah, McDonald's said, fuck you. Yeah. Well, right.
Well, ostensibly, that's what they did. So I'm not wrong.
Well, speaking of sponsors, let's do our sponsorships, and then we'll get into our conversation with Eric. So, Tom, echohealth.com, the 3M Littman Core Digital Stethoscope. Tom, what do you think about that thing, man?
I have been happy every day I've got to use it. They sent me a model to try out. And honestly, even if they had said we want it back, I would have been buying one the next day. It's been great. It's really improved how I hear people. And I really think it makes my job not only easier, but more thorough.
Yeah, noise cancellation, 40-time amplification, wireless auscultation via the Bluetooth app, telehealth ready. I mean, what more can you say about this thing? It is amazing. You can find out more, echohealth.com. That's ekohealth.com. Use code JSP. That gives you $50 off, and it tells them that we sent you. All right. Go ahead and say, I know you've been wanting to fire questions away at Eric, so...
Yeah, so, I mean, we got talking. We got, how I am. I got started, and...
I know.
So we talked about your diverse background. What brought you into aesthetics? You were sitting there one day, you're like, man, I got to do something different. What happened?
It was actually, and I think Ben's familiar with this because he's known me for quite a while. I was actually going through a divorce at the time of graduating NP school, and it was a super stressful, situation that just was happening, and with everything else going around, with taking boards and my kids and everything, I wanted a quote unquote easy job. So I took a job at the local med spa. I'm not sure if I can say their name or not, but they're a global med spa. I was the first male provider they had in their whole global system, which was insane. And fell in love with it, to be honest. People were happy. People came to me and wanted things done to be happy, to boost their confidence in themselves, to make themselves reach their certain ideal image in their head that matched their outside. Like, it's all about boosting someone's confidence, making them feel better, and optimizing their life. So after that, I had a non-compete clause that I found in my contract. So I had to go back to the ER for a few years, and then there we are.
When did you launch Bosque Aesthetics?
Almost 2 years ago now. We're 2 years in June.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been going crazy. And we actually started off as Bosque Health and Wellness. So Bosque, for other people that don't know what it is, it's a Mexican term for down by the river, kind of the trees and the area down by the river. So it's a really big, prominent name we have here. We have multiple things that are Bosque, like Bosque Brewing Companies are huge things. And I get confused for them all the time, which is great to bring some more customers. So we started off as Bosque Health and Wellness, which we're going to start doing primary care and walk-in care. And we'd offered a little bit of aesthetics on the side, some Botox and fillers. And then I jumped into a laser hair removal machine and a CO2 RF microneedling machine. And that's where the money hit. And that's where the interest hit. And I pivoted really fast and just, DBA to Bosque Aesthetics.
Background ER, Ben and I both ER. What was the learning curve like? Like, was this something, did you find it an easy transition, or were you like, holy crap, this is like hitting speed bumps at 70? How was it?
Well, I'm a nerd, big nerd. So I like to study and learn everything I can. And I'm a, certified master injector under multiple certification companies. So what that means is I've done the master level of all the injecting courses. So I know the facial anatomy very well. I know what to expect, what to react to. I know what questions to ask. I know how to react if things go wrong, which my ER, aspect helped me do that drastically. Because in the ER, you have to know what's going to go wrong all the time. Even if you don't know, you have to know. That makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have to know the worst thing that can happen and how to fix that. Yeah. So
And then you go from there. Yeah. You said something earlier, though, that I think you get a unique perspective because you get to make people happy. And I don't mean that like in a bad way. I mean, like family practice is great. Like I love what I do, but I still have patients who get irritated with me, frustrated with me, yell, angry, whatever. But I mean, you get to improve someone's body image and they leave much happier than when they got there.
Indeed. And that's a huge difference. And that's what kind of draw me out of the ER. The ER working there, that's the person's worst day they've had for a while, if not in their whole life. It sucks. It's hard for them. It's hard to always deal with death, to tell people that they have cancer, to tell people shit if they're ignoring this relationship that they have an STD.
Yeah,
there's so many bad things and negative things that happen there every day. I mean, of course you have the stub toes and the sore throats and stuff like that, but that's not what gets you. That's not what sticks with you, and that's what you take home. So transferring to the aesthetic industry, does it have still people that have bad days? Yes. If people don't like the Botox you do, they're going to tell you about it. So it still has some bad days part into it, but for the most part, 85-90% is going to be all positive and making someone happy and seeing that smile.
What's say like a typical patient load day like for you in aesthetics?
Well, I'm different. I'm not your typical med spa, like where I just do Botox fillers. I have every machine under the sun that you can get, the highest technology you can get. So it can be like today, let's see, I opened up with a hormone consult and hormone replacement therapy. So, I laid some pellets down in someone's side after discussing the lab work and values for them. Next, I went into some dermal filler, some lips, which is my favorite, the Lip King here in New Mexico. And then some Botoxes after that. And we had a lot of Endoscope Neo today. The Neo is a high-level piece of machinery that burns fat, builds muscle, and tightens the skin up all in 30-minute sessions.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, we might have to have him back just to talk about that. That's going to raise some interest on the show. Everybody wants to know how to do that.
It's like doing 30,000 sit-ups in 30 minutes.
Woo. Okay. I might have done 30,000 sit-ups in my life, so I don't know that I want to jack that up to the 30. Is there a lower setting, like maybe 3 years? Like, how do I get to that setting? Like, slower transition.
It's not painful. There's no downtime, so you're good, man. It's a little discomfort, a little bit like labor pains, I've been told, but other than that, that's about it.
Labor pains.
Yeah.
Eric, I know this is the first time you've met me, but I and labor pains are not going to mix well. So, I mean,
they'll do fine.
There's a few things we've talked about we actually share in common. Like, hey, I've been hit in the face. Like, I think my abdomen cramping beyond belief, though, would be one of those things I don't know that I would handle well. So you said lips are your favorite. Is there something that is more popular than others? Because I would assume like lips or Botox would be the number one. So what is something that you commonly see or you are asked about frequently?
So number one is always tox, Botox, Jeuveau, Dysport. Since I'm a master level injector, I do a lot more advanced techniques. Lips, of course, are pretty common. So are cheeks. But I also do liquid rhinoplasties of the nose, as well as chin enhancement and jawline enhancement. So, which are some more high level injections.
Now, how long does something like that typically last then?
About 2 years.
I say, is it permanent or is it something that you'll see degrade over a period of time? So 2 years is what you're looking at?
About 2 years. You can use a compound that is more permanent. I don't use that in my med spa because of the fact there's no dissolver. There's not a backup to that. If you fuck up, you fuck up.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's not good.
Especially the nasal injections, the nasal bone and the bridge. There's so many parts that you could mess up and occlude vessels. They could lose their nose and go blind. There's so many bad things that can happen so fast. So
actually, I'm really glad you brought that up because I have seen some videos. And of course, there are, as an NP, you're aware that there are physician groups that think NPs or PAs are bad. Like they don't like us.
What? You don't say.
it's
No.
Let me give you some websites when we're done. Yeah, it'll blow your mind. Okay. But one of the things that I have seen multiple times is nurse practitioners that are doing aesthetic procedures, and they're talking about how they're not being safe. What my question is for you is, do people come to you and then say, I went to other places and I didn't have a great, and I don't want you to name names. What I'm saying is basically there are whole shows now about one person having to fix procedures gone bad with somebody else. Is that something?
Happens all the time.
Okay. So that's not an uncommon thing. Okay. And I guess the reason I'm asking is because I would assume that makes your job tougher. Like if somebody had just come to you and they wanted a lip filler, but somebody else messed it up, I would assume it makes your job tougher to actually have to work with somebody else's mistake first.
Kind of. With lips, they're nice because you can dissolve them and then we can refill them. So the patient has to wait a couple of weeks, but they get the results they want. Now with tox, when people come in with the messed up group on tox, that's hard, because
it's got to wear
off. There are some ways you can fix it, but yeah, mainly it has to wear off.
So I'm going to ask a dumb question that I think a lot of our listeners are probably wondering. And I think I already know the answer to this, but I'm going to go ahead and throw it out there anyway. I'm assuming this is a cash-based practice, and I mean, like, you're not dealing with insurance and all the other shit.
No insurance at all. It's fully cash pay, cash credit card. We offer and financing as well. That
leads to a whole nother question I have, and this is actually away from the medical side. So being an entrepreneur, as an NP, clearly they don't do any classes to help teach us how to, go on our own. So what was the learning process for you? Was it like things that you picked up from other places you worked, or was it just, hey, I decided to do it and I figured it out? Like, what was your process?
The process to open, it took me a few years to do it. And it was a lot of research and studying. So I don't have a background in business. I don't have an MBA. I don't have all that stuff either as well. But I'm pretty savvy with money, pretty savvy with marketing. And then I have a couple mentors, as well as read a bunch of books by Grant Cardone, Gary Vee, all these guys out here that are, killing it, making millions, being entrepreneurship. So it's a steep learning curve, but if you got it, you got it. If you don't, you don't.
Well, and that's what I was going to ask is, when other NPs ask you about this, is this the type of field where you go, yeah, I think a lot of people, or are you going to just be upfront and be like, no, I don't think most people are going to hack it in this field? Like, how do you feel about NPs wanting to get into a similar field?
It's tough. I'll be honest with you. It's not for everybody. You have to be a big risk taker to do it. Scared money doesn't make money. So you got to be able to take those risks and live with the decisions you make. Just for instance, within the 2 years we've been open, I have over $1 million in equipment that's mainly financed right now.
Wow.
Yeah. So that doesn't help you sleep well at night.
No, but you can't do the procedures if you don't have the stuff, right? So
exactly. You want to be the most elevated technology you can have in the region that you're in to bring the most customers in to see you. You don't want to have 3 years ago technology. You want to have the cutting edge. So that costs money.
So you mentioned marketing. So like social media, are you doing marketing elsewhere? What all kind of marketing type stuff?
So we do a lot of social media, tons of Instagram, paid posts, boost posts, sponsorship through there, as well as Facebook. They link together. We do a little bit of radio ads. We do some television. We do a magazine that's local to us. Billboards, we've done a few of those. Those weren't that great return. It's kind of cool seeing your name up on the board, but it's not the best return. It's expensive as shit. I just invested into a bunch of Yelp ads just recently too.
I would assume that that's a demographic based issue. Like if you're somewhere where everyone uses Yelp, you want to go more towards that versus, like you said, it's expensive as shit. But if you live somewhere where a lot of people are looking at billboards when they're driving down the highway, it's worth it to get your name out there. And this is weird for me because this is something I find this highly interesting, because this is something I don't have to think about ever. I go somewhere every once in a while, the hospital's like, hey, we want to do a new headshot. I'm like, what? They have their own marketing people. I don't have to do anything. So I think it's really interesting to listen to someone that not only has to do the procedure, but they have to figure out how to get the people there to do the procedure. And that's a new combo.
You'd be really crazy if you knew what like Yelp, or especially Google Analytics and Google Business, they can pinpoint whoever you want. If I want to zoom in on 25 to 35-year-old females with a household income over $100,000 with certain zip codes that have dogs, I can find you and I can advertise to you.
That is both fantastic and terrifying.
Fucking terrifying. So scary.
Yeah, that is one of those things like, oh, so some of the boogeyman stories I've heard are true. Okay, that makes me feel a lot
it's
better.
true because they've said before that, like for Facebook, if you're not paying for it, you're what's being sold, basically,
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
And and they talk about that they can track how long you're looking at each video, how long you're looking at every single thing, and pinpoint that marketing directly to you. So that is a little, like you said, it's kind of cool, but it's a little freaky too.
It's freaky on the consumer aspect, but on the business person aspect, it's ideal.
Yeah, I was gonna say you got to be loving it. So you can be like, well, for the next 6 months, I really need to be bringing in this group. Here it is.
Yeah.
Here's how you do it.
And it's seriously interesting. I don't know if you guys either follow my Instagram feed or not, but I can literally push what I want to be sold. It's insane. If you push one product, hard for 1 week, for the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, that sells like crazy. So it's really intense how much you can change things so fastly.
So we talked about procedures that are very popular. Do you have products that seem to do better than others? Or again, is that kind of a, hey, we're looking at making this a bigger thing in this area, so you push a certain product? Like, how does that develop? Is that on you or is that the client?
Primarily me driven.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we go into seasons. Every season, like right now, it's huge on the body contouring aspect. The new year, new me kind of situation.
Oh yeah.
Where the fall is more, laser peel, laser facials, chemical peels, and Botox and fillers getting ready for the holidays. So it's interesting to see the different rotations about what is being used at certain times.
Huh. That's stuff I never would even thought about. I mean, that's interesting, but
I watch I've seen a lot of these shows that talk about aesthetics. Here is another, I guess to me, it's a pretty serious, someone that is wanting to do too much. Have you ever run into the problem, or how do you address when someone's like, I need this done again, and you're like, you don't need this procedure? I feel like I'm not formatting the question very well, but the point is someone that wants something done that you don't feel is appropriate.
Yeah, we turn them away. We try to talk to them, tell them what's best interest of them. But if they don't and they still want it, we turn them away. Unfortunately, we are very selective of the patients we have. We're lucky to be able to do that because of our reputation. We don't want our reputation to be attached to those kind of situations.
Which makes sense, yeah. Now, are you the only provider there, or do you have other providers that work with you?
What's crazy is I've done this whole thing, and actually we have this really high-end magazine. It's called ABQ, the magazine, that does the best of the city every year. And we just took top 3 for our first year that we were out. And for half of that year, it was only me and part-time ER. So we just recently hired an esthetician and another nurse injector. So there's only a team of 3 right now for me,
Wow.
including myself. And we're pushing revenues closer to this year. I think our P&L was up to about 850. From our first year was maybe about 70.
Wow.
So it's a huge difference.
Yeah, that's quite a growth right there. So what advice do you have? Like, let's say we talked about things that would make us want to go into aesthetics. What advice do you have for somebody that's looking into this field as another provider?
Learn everything you can. Knowledge will not hurt you.
A specific resource, or is it just get a hold of other aesthetics providers and then start going from there? Like, what is step 1? If knowing what you know now, what would you tell someone to be step 1?
Step 1, I'd find a mentor. Find the person that has the life that you want, and then tell them you want to work for them for free or minimal for the first couple of months, just to get their feet wet, to get everything that you can learn just absorbed in. Then step 2 would be learning everything you can, meaning you can take different classes. I mean, I use this Aesthetic Skin Institute. They're all over the place. You also have National Laser Institute. I mean, you have tons of different places they can do and learn different techniques and procedures. I would take as many of those as you can as well. And then step 3 would be learning what is the best for your region. Different regions sell different things. Some people sell more Botox for a lot more expensive than I do, but some people sell, body contouring for a lot cheaper than I do. So find your niche, find what you're going to get into.
So I figure we got about 2 more years before you're in Beverly Hills doing, the NP aesthetic to the stars. Is that what we're looking at?
Oh, baby, we're already there here in New Mexico. We're the next Hollywood. They film Netflix has a big old studio. Yeah.
I would say there was this little show that this one channel had that was set in Albuquerque. Oh, what was
Breaking
that?
Bad?
Breaking Bad. Yeah. No, I was trying to.
I worked on it.
Shut up. Oh God, that's awful. We'll have to talk off the air, but that's insane. I love that show.
Yeah, I was there on set, nurse with a baby.
Wow.
Ooh,
Yeah, that's
look at
pretty cool.
that. That is awesome. Oh, because I hear Brian Cranston talk about Albuquerque all the time and the chilies and all this stuff. So I was like, what the hell? Maybe I need to go out there sometime. What do you know? Maybe Eric's going to get a knock on his door and there's just going to be me and Ben holding our hands. Please, sir, teach us how to do this.
Right? When you're fed up with the ER and the primary care, but you guys got this going on. I feel like I'm all special being on this.
Yeah, I think it's the other way around, but yeah, we appreciate that.
Yeah.
So, you got to talk about the steps for like aesthetics practice, but did you have any big hurdles on the business side? Like you said, you don't have an MBA. Were there things that you went, man, I really shouldn't have done that, or lessons you might give another NP if they were thinking about starting their own business?
That's tough, to be honest. A lot of people just say I'm lucky that I've gone so far so fast, but the harder I work, the luckier I get, I don't really have any pearls of wisdom on the business aspect side. I mean, like I said, it's all about taking risks. Take that risk. If you can afford to lose it, take that risk and throw the dice in there, because you're not going to figure it out unless you don't. Because like I was saying earlier off air, I tell this to people, because everybody sees me driving a Lamborghini now, and they're like, how do you do it? And I said, not working for someone else. I'll tell you that much. There's no way I would have done this, purchased these vehicles if I stayed in the hospital.
Yeah, it's about
taking a risk is the hugest thing.
I just read a quote recently, and again, I don't know 100% that it's from Elon Musk, but I keep seeing it because they named him Man of the Year. And I guess one of the quotes is somewhere in the article, related article.
Yeah,
it should be Ben, but I think it was Elon Musk this time. We'll see where Ben's at next year. But basically, he said, I work 7 days a week, 16 hours a day, no days off, and they still tell me it's because I'm lucky.
Exactly.
And I was like, oh boy, he's firing a shot. Yeah, he and I don't blame him, but that's what it was. It was like, this isn't luck. That's what he was saying. And I got to say, I keep hearing it over and over and over from everybody that's successful in business is, I didn't get here by accident. This is not a product of maybe. That might be the best advice, Ben, that I've heard to anybody is, if you're going to do it, do it. That's the only way it's going to get done.
You can't half-ass it, definitely.
We've talked about that, Tom, even with the podcast, I mean, if some point this gets big, and everybody's like, oh, you guys were an overnight success. And it's like, well, no, we've put in years and years. And
yes.
So, no, it's really not.
This is year 4. Yeah.
So, I mean, same thing. I mean, it's taking the risk. And I mean, I think that was great advice.
I still don't have a Lambo though. So I need to take a bigger risk. That's what I heard. Thank you, Eric.
Bigger balls.
So, yeah. I was saying, when my wife was like, what are we doing? I'm like, Eric said to do it.
Fucking YOLO, right? You only live once.
Oh, we're gonna have to have Eric back for Tom's divorce episode. Eric's gonna moderate. So
yeah, listen to me in business advice. Don't listen to me in relationship advice. I'm already in like 4th fucking failed relationship, so I'm fucked up. So I don't know how that goes.
All I'm picturing right now is Tom's gonna like order a JSP billboard in Columbus, Ohio tomorrow. Eric said take risk.
Eric said do this, so I did it. People are just gonna randomly walk outside to JSP stickers on their windshield. That's advertising, baby. Not what I was looking for. Yeah, there you go. There it is.
Again, stupid question. So I assume you're pretty happy on aesthetics then.
Indeed, very much so. It's a good place. It's nice to have your own place, to go to every morning and open up with your own key. This is mine. Is it scary when bills come due every month? Yeah, that part sucks. But aesthetics is pleasing, and it's really encouraging and exciting to see what else is coming on the horizon.
Well, that brings up my next question, Eric, is what do you see next? We talked about how you got there. So now what do you see next? Expansion
and growth. I'm going to start getting into commercial real estate. I want to build out, at least now the area that I'm in, I want to build out my own and rent out the rest of them so people start paying me. And then next would be expansion after that. I've already had offers to expand into Las Vegas, Scottsdale, and Jacksonville, Florida, which is all independent practice states, just FYI.
So you're thinking like franchise type thing potentially?
Not so much franchise, it's just expansion. I don't want anybody else running my thing.
Fair enough. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Technically, Ohio does not have that. But if someday they do, I'd be like, hey, Eric, what's going on?
Right.
Ohio needs some more aesthetics.
You want to know one of the pieces of equipment that comes in and that it's here that I have?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Here we go. Now we're talking.
That just is crazy. So we do a lot of vaginal rejuvenation. We're like one of the only 2 providers in New Mexico that do vaginal rejuvenation. We utilize a CO2 laser that inserts into the vaginal canal and spins around and pretty much lights up the vagina to create new refresher skin, tightens it up and everything. But now we also recently invested into it's called the Emcella. It's a Kegel throne. And you sit on it, and it's like doing just kind of like the Neo that I talked to you about doing the sit-ups. It's like doing 13,000 Kegels in 30 minutes. So it's crazy. This technology is insane.
So is this painful?
Not painful. It's almost orgasmic. I have to leave the room sometimes.
I'm betting it's more than almost. I'm just I don't know.
13,000 Kegels, huh? Maybe that's the name of the episode, Ben. Just make the name of this episode.
Right there.
13,000 Kegels. That's advertising, buddy. Sex sells. So I got to say, so is that part of it? So tell me about some interesting things that you've learned. We talked about demographics for like, okay, so JSP, if you were looking at us, what is the basic law of social media and getting more views?
Finding your demographic and then pinpointing it. Do you guys have a marketing director? No, I'm guessing.
No.
Do you guys have a website with SEO?
Yes.
Who runs the SEO?
Me.
Okay,
Ben.
so that's probably, no offense, Ben, but it's probably not cutting it.
Oh, I agree.
You're a full-time, provider. You have to have a full-time marketer.
Join us on a journey into the inner psyche of our guest as we ask five questions.
All right, Mr. Eric.
So we're gonna do
He's about to tell you.
five
Yeah.
questions.
Oh, here they come. It's getting serious.
Yeah.
Same 5 questions we ask every one of our guests, and it just kind of gives us an idea more about your inner psyche. So I ask the questions. Tom makes fun of your answers. It's supposed to just be fun. So, all right.
Yeah, don't think about it too much. Just
What if I say vagina to everything?
Well, I mean, the first one that might work, and I'm a little concerned about number 5. We'll see in a minute why. All right. Question 1, Eric. What's your favorite medical word?
Vagina. No.
I do.
Question. Favorite medical word? I don't know. Emesis. You sound fancy saying it.
wow.
Pay me like one of your French models.
No, the reason that we both had that look on our face is the show that's not out yet, which will be out by the time the people listening to this. We interviewed a dietitian, and when we asked her what her favorite medical word was, that was one of her favorite medical words was emesis, and that's the only time we've ever had that word. Other than
So this
Nice.
is like 2 times per show. Wow, it does sound fancy until you know what it is.
Right.
I don't care what word you put on this. I always liked a Lecranon, but I'm like, it's an elbow. I don't care what you do. What you figure out, it's an elbow. It's just an elbow now. Yeah. Puke. Well, it's hard. I'm laughing too much because he said emesis to make too much fun of emesis. So I guess he gets a pass on that one. So yeah, there you go.
All right. Question 2. If you could do any job in the world other than what you currently do, what would it be?
Any job in the world? Fuck, I don't know.
Anything.
Anything. President.
There you go. See?
Yeah.
That's the first time we ever had.
Talk like Donald Trump though here,
Well, here's the funny thing is MMA background, runs his own business, has like all this cutting edge technology. But in my head, I kept thinking, I'm looking at a guy, I'm like, it'd be funny as hell if he said like certified public accountant. Dog walker. I was just waiting for something. I've always dreamed of being on a synchronized swimming team, Ben. Like I was just waiting for something like that to come out. Yeah. Oh yeah. Water polo would be great. I think like a rock.
Those guys. Yeah, those guys fucking champs.
Yeah.
President though is hard to argue.
How do you make
good job?
That? Yeah.
Get it. Yeah. Get it. I got all the faith. He did this. Go get it.
I've done too much shady shit in my past, so yeah.
So
who knows nowadays?
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say it. So my first thought, whenever you said president, was what's the president's name in Idiocracy? Was it?
Oh, Macho Camacho. Is it something like that? Something like that?
Yeah, like President
Macho.
I was
no,
like,
that was the boxer. Yeah, Macho. I think it's Macho Camacho driving the dildozer.
Nice.
I mean, it's like
that's my next investment.
There you go. Question.
I'm gonna get a big monster truck and make it a dildozer.
Oh wow. Question 3. Think back to your first car. Was it a stylish ride or a rolling turd?
Stylish ride. I had a 91 Ford Mustang GT notchback.
That is. There you go.
And what was the car's name?
I'm not one of those weird people.
Wow. Maybe you are one of the weird people not naming your car. Everybody names their car. Oh, Eric, I thought for sure.
Would you like make love to it?
Yeah. I mean, oh, you don't? Oh, wait a second. I mean, no, don't ever do that. No, Mustang GT. Good choice. I like that. That's hard to, that's another one. I'm a Mustang fan myself. So nope, that's an excellent choice. There you go, Ben. Do better. Get a better question. I don't know what to tell you. I can't make fun of good answers.
Question 4, Eric. If your house is on fire, everyone, including your pets, are safe. Other than pictures, what's the one thing you want to get out of your house?
A dildozer.
Well, it's a vagina.
I fucking love this guy. He went after the theoretical vehicle he doesn't own yet. I was waiting for him to say, no, it has to be a picture. I have a signed picture of myself. I had to get that out of the house. I'm like, that's great. Oh my God. Okay. So let's say the dildozer's not an option though. What else would you want to get out of your house?
If I had to get it out of my house, something like that would probably be the gun collection. If everything, animals and humans are safe.
Yeah. Okay. So hold on though. Not collection. You get to pick one gun out of all your guns.
Yeah, one.
Yeah. One gun. Which one are you going for? Now this is going to tell. Now I want to know. Let's.
My favorite one I just bought just recently. I have yet to shoot it though. Is a Taurus Judge public defender. You know what that is?
Yes. What type of bear lives in New Mexico that you needed something with that much power?
Just as fun, man.
Hey, also completely valid answer, Ben. When you say the word Taurus Judge, I was like, holy cow. Yeah, that's a lot of rock and roll. Yeah,
yeah. Do you know what it is, Ben?
No.
It's a pistol that shoots shotgun shells.
Yep.
All right, then.
I would say even Eric's probably going to want to make sure he's got both hands on that thing when he starts that. And yeah, I thought they could also rotate. Is it 454 Casul into it?
Yes.
I don't remember. Yeah. Okay, it is. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, either one of those rounds. Yeah, buddy.
Down. Yeah. I got these special rounds that I found that has 3 slugs in them. And then it has the shotgun shells with, the shotgun pellets with it too. Oh, it's amazing. I haven't waited to shoot them yet.
Huh.
That sounds like a lot of fun. That's an excellent. If he'd have been like, I got this really cool 25 Raven, I'd be like, get him off my show. Get him off my show. Oh, I don't want him back. But yeah, Taurus Judge. That's a good one.
Question 5, and here's one I was concerned of you answering vagina to all the questions. Question 5, Eric. You have $9.18 in your pocket. You're at the convenience store or the gas station. What all do you buy?
Ooh, some zingers.
You say zingers?
Fuck yeah, those are good as shit, dude. Those fucking raspberry filled ones.
Okay, so that's like what, $2? So what? Yeah, like $7 left.
Throw a Red Bull in there, sugar free, of course.
Okay.
Oh, of course, because you just ate 1,000 grams of sugar in the zinger. So make sure you get that sugar-free Red Bull. Good choice.
So, right? $5. So now you're like $2 left.
Throw a Diet Dr. Pepper in there too.
Diet Dr. Pepper. Look, I'm cool with the diet, but Dr. Pepper, Ben knows, communist. Dr. Pepper, you're just communist. But
And this is another company we're marking off as sponsor.
I really don't have anything against Dr. Pepper. I just like to give people hell that drink it. So that's just fun.
It is because it's the best ever.
Oh, but it says 23 flavors working together. And
I was
this
just
is America, buddy. There should be 23 versions of Dr. Pepper then. That's what I say. That's what I'm.
You read too fucking much. Just drink the damn shit.
Yeah, someone got the joke. Oh God.
Well, that
So-
concludes 5 questions. Eric, why don't you let everybody know where they can find your stuff at online one more time?
Facebook and Instagram, Bosque Aesthetics, as well as TikTok is Bosque Aesthetics as well. And they could go to bosqueaesthetics.com and then check out all of our products and services there too.
Would you spell that for them one more time?
BOSQUE Aesthetics.
Okay, let's say we'll make sure we have that down in the show notes for everybody too. So, Eric, man, we appreciate you taking time out of your evening now to get on here and bullshit with us about aesthetics, and I think it's been a great conversation.
Vaginas and dildos are.
Thanks to Tom.
Any conversation involving vaginas and dildosers, how is that not Pulitzer Prize winning is what I ask.
Now the hard part's gonna have to be quiet about this until it comes out. That's gonna suck.
Not necessarily. You're
You'll be all right.
there's no non-disclosure agreement signed here. You know, we're not.
No, not
gray over
competes.
here. Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
Those fuckers.
Well, hey, on that note, make sure you join us again in 2 weeks. Make sure you're checking out our other show. We'll continue to monitor where we're talking about all kinds of tantalizing mysteries over there. Hell, maybe we'll have a dildozer episode over there. You never know. Make sure you wash your hands, wear your mask. Have a great week.
Hey, everybody, stay safe out there.
Practice swearing just to pass the time. Lately I see why I am alone. I caught some road rage and I thought of you, and all the many times you say I should have known. Took a class so I could find my G, find mediocrity's the best that I could do. Meant to shower, but I slept all day. It takes everything to live the life I choose. Oh, what do you say? I screw up everything again. Oh, what did you prove except there's only more for me to lose? Failure's not the same without you.